on this episode of Postcards.
When you finally pull the film out of the drum for the first time and hold it up and see it, that's the kind of the moment of truth. Even though there's chemicals dripping off it and you can't exactly see everything, that moment of being like, oh man, I did it.
I installed glass in the crown of the Statue of Liberty. I installed glass on the top of Grant's tomb.
Postcards is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota. Additional support provided by Margaret A. Cargill Philanthropies, Mark and Margaret Yackel-Julien on behalf of Shalom Hill Farms, a retreat and conference center in a prairie setting near Windham, Minnesota, on the web at shalomhillfarm.org. Alexandria, Minnesota, a year-round destination with hundreds of lakes, trails, and attractions for memorable vacations and events. More information at explorealex.com. The Lake Region Arts Council's Arts Calendar, an arts and cultural heritage funded digital calendar showcasing upcoming art events and opportunities for artists in West Central Minnesota, on the web at lrac4calendar.org.
My start in large format photography kind of came out of a desire to have projects that I could do start to finish on my own. Being a filmmaker, which is what I do for a living, inevitably you're always working with crews, and there's a wonderful collaborative aspect to that. But sometimes you just want to kind of like do your own thing, just go off and travel the country and just take photos and not have to have a million cooks in the kitchen all the time. Large format photography for me is that creative control, that creative satisfaction. I get to come up with a concept that really excites me and actually try and pull it off. I've been doing large format photography for only a couple of years now. I started with 35mm film cameras, just pick one up as like a novelty, just like, oh, that's kind of cool, let's try that, do something different. Once that bug bit me, I was like, oh, 4x5 is next, and 8x10 is next, and I'm even entertaining larger film sizes right now because I just love having crazy amounts of detail, resolution. You can just zoom in and zoom in and zoom in, and just large format photography looks like real life. It's not nearly as simple as just pointing and shooting and clicking. You have to learn how to focus with bellows. You have to compose on the ground glass upside down. You have to use a loop to find fine focus on your subject. And then you put the sheet of film in and you can no longer see your focus or your framing at that point. So you kind of have to trust that what you've done is going to stay the way that it was in front of the lens. I would have ideas in my head, images that kind of would recur, and I would work them into concepts. I think the very first one was just kind of the musing on the death of literacy, sort of, and so had some friends come out and we built a goalpost rig and made all these books and glued them open so that when we hung them on fishing line, they would hang open just the right way, and we put some contact cement on them and lit them up and took a picture. When I got that picture back, I was just like, it was just like a moment. Like this is what I want to do. I must do more of this. So. One of my biggest inspirations is a guy named Gregory Crewdson, a large format photographer who had endless financial resources, it seems, at his disposal. You know, some of his photos will be like a $100,000 film set for one photo, you know, amazing. So I kind of started doing it in my own small way. I built a little set in my driveway, and the city actually gave me a ticket right before I was about to do this shoot called Money Shredders. And I, bought all these props, and I painted the whole thing and got it all set, and there was like a little letter from the city saying that it was blocking my garage, which it was, but it's like, it's my garage. Like, I get to decide, if I need to, I'll park in front, I called the city and I was like, hey, I'm doing a photo shoot, this is what this is for, blah, blah, blah. And the lady's like, oh, that's fine, I'll give you a 2-week extension, whatever. So, take that, angry neighbor that called. One of the biggest things about my photographs that's important to me is doing things practically. I want to make sure that everything you see in the photograph is actually happening in front of the lens. If something's on fire, it was actually on fire. We went through the extra work to actually do that instead of just photoshopping in some fire. And so it does look more authentic, but even if people don't realize it, I think to me it's important to know that I actually, did the thing for real. I like the idea of my photographs for there to be something that has just happened or is about to happen in them. There's a story to be figured out by looking at the details. The goal of my work is to get people talking about issues, also while enjoying beauty. The body of work of these most recent large format photographs is kind of centered around the current political climate and sort of exploring, the plight of certain people in the country that are, on the fringes or marginalized in some way or are struggling. Thinking about the divisions between the super rich and the poor and the disappearing middle class. I just had an image of a guy, just rich broker, banker guy who would rather cut piles of money to ribbons before see it go to, the needy. And the poor literally just arms coming up from the floor, grabbing for the money. And the world is just on fire outside. It's just like the world is burning, and he would rather just destroy money rather than see it go to the poor. And that feels like how the attitudes are of some of these super, super rich people. It's like you have more than you could ever possibly need. 1,000,000 times over, why would you not help your fellow human being? So I wanted to make a statement about that, and so that's where the Money Shredders concept came from. Logistically, kind of challenging because, as I said, everything in my photos is practical. So I had to find a way to get 16 hands coming up through the floor. We had to find a way to block the set up. We got 8 people willing to lay on the ground for 2 hours and put their arms up through the floor, and we even measured their biceps so that the holes weren't too big. And then the city outside the window was actually laser cut MDF. We put it on C-stands and doused it in contact cement and lit it on fire in my backyard. Almost got the power line on that one. Oh, the fire room. This is a don't try this at home. I would not do this again. Fire is very hot and much hotter than I thought it would be. So in hindsight, probably would have done some safety things a little different on that one, but it worked out okay. No one died. But yeah, I wanted to go out with a bang since the city had given me the ticket and I had to tear down my set that was blocking my driveway. And I was like, man, let's paint it red and burn it down.
All right, and light it up. So Joe up first. All right, yep, perfect. Make sure all that's going. Here we go, get out, and action.
Contact cement usually burns for like 5-6 seconds. And so we knew that, and the guys had to get the whole room lit up and get out of there in time for me to get a shot off. I ended up only taking one photo because we couldn't do it again, so we lit up the room. They ran out. I got the photo just as she was getting up. Like, it was getting really hot, and so she was like, I gotta get out of here. And so I barely got the photo, In fact, I didn't know until I got the film back that I actually had got it. I was like, I think we got it. But sure enough, I got the film back, and my one picture that I took actually turned out. No light leaks, nothing like that. Sometimes in life, at least I feel like, you see this train wreck coming, and sometimes you just sit there and watch and just, you see it happening and you just don't do anything, either through complacency or through, you know, addiction or stubbornness or whatever. There's just, you know, this fire. It feels like you're in a room on fire and you just sit there and watch rather than doing what it takes, you know, doing the hard thing to like reverse directions and get out. The first 5 pictures that I did turned out really great, and you know, I was kind of riding on a high for that, but I realized that, you know, things they're not always going to work out like that. I had another shoot at this, it was a pink trailer that a friend of mine, Tessa, had, and I'd always thought, oh man, I'd love to do a photograph there. So I planned one picture inside, and then I'd planned kind of a Gregory Crewdson-ish night exterior for the outside. And on the day, we got the inside photo, but when it came time to shoot the outside photo, which was very dependent on light, and I didn't have enough lights, didn't have enough time, didn't have enough power, enough people, and you know, the photo didn't turn out how I wanted it to turn out. Now she's actually retired the trailer, I think, and moved into an apartment, so I don't think I could do it again, but that definitely, you know, taught me it's the joy of getting it and the despair of losing the light. I travel a lot for my job, doing music videos and things like that. So, you know, quite often I'll bring a camera and book an extra day or two to just go out and explore and take photos. So for me, it's kind of a therapeutic way to just, you know, be out in nature and do something I enjoy. That's what landscape photography is for me. It's not something that I intend to be great at or to show in galleries or, you know, anything like that. It's really just a way that I enjoy nature and get to look back on, you know, my trips. I love having something to look back on and, you know, relive those moments. Oh, in my life, I'm a documentarian, certainly. Yeah, I take pictures of my wife way more than she wants. The dog has no choice. Yeah, everywhere I go, I document it.
Whooshi, say hi. Whooshu, look here.
Finally decided to start a YouTube channel and about large format film, landscape, studio, but also get my work out there for people to see and to just connect with people that are enthusiastic about film. You know, there's this whole resurgence of film and large format film that I'm seeing right now, and it's cool to connect with those people that are like-minded and are also passionate about this kind of stuff. It's called Positives and Negatives. We'll play on words with film. And life. Life has positives and negatives. So that's the name of the YouTube channel. One of the greatest joys, I think, in my life is creation. Having an idea and bringing it to life. Especially when you're able to bring it to life in a way that is as good or better than you could have imagined. And large format photography, for me, is that outlet. It's start to finish, my baby, my idea. You know, I don't make the film, but short of that, I went out and I carried this film and protected it from light all through the United States, exposed it to light at that exact moment, carried it through the dark all the way back home, loaded it into a drum in the dark, all protecting it from light, and then boom, I put it in these chemicals at a very specific temperature for a very specific amount of time, and that's what caused it to have the proper development. So maybe it's a $20 sheet of film or something, and so before you click that shutter, you'd think twice. So there's just something that makes it so much more special. When you finally pull the film out of the drum for the first time and hold it up and see it, that's the kind of the moment of truth. Even though there's chemicals dripping off it and you can't exactly see everything, that moment of being like, oh man, I did it, is the best.
Okay, so where were we? Well, I was 18. My friend's father said to me, "What are you doing for the summer?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know, I'll hang out with my friends, we'll go to the beach and do whatever." And he said, "No, tomorrow morning I'm taking you to work." I said, "I don't want to. You guys are in the glass business. You get cut when you work with glass." He says, "Don't worry about it." He always said, "Don't worry about it." That was one of his favorite lines. Oh, I was the kid, yeah. Take the kid with you. He would tell a mechanic, take the kid with you, teach him, It was a very clear, cold day. We had a little pickup truck, and we started uptown. I had no idea where we were going. Where are we going, Jack? Don't worry about it. I said, what are we doing here? There's a lot of glass in the Empire State Building. But the glass that we had on the truck was not the same kind of glass that are in all the windows. And I said, this is strange. He says, don't worry about it. So we drove down through their freight entrance, took a piece of glass, got into the elevator. We had to transfer elevators to go up to the observation deck. From there, we went into the tower. And then it dawned on me where the glass was going. I said, aha. Floors stop at 102, and this had to be 106, 108, something like that. The tower is quite high. You could feel a draft. It was windy. It shouldn't be windy inside a building. A bird had flown through the glass, smashed it, and my boss, he says, okay, get out there. I look out, and there's a rope coming down onto a plank. You want me to get on that? He says, yes. It's not on your life. He says, get out there. What, are you worried? You didn't think about safety in those days. So I went out there. 100 floors up. In winter time. He handed me out the glass. I had my arms around the rope, glass on my knees, and all of a sudden, the wind came along and pulled me out just like I was on a swing. Well, I looked down and I could see the street. You get all kinds of flashes. Of course, my life wasn't that long at that time, so it was a quick flash. I go flying back in towards the building. Put my feet out. Luckily, I hit the mullions, not the glass. And I said, get me off this damn thing. And he said, I laughed, put in the glass, finished the job. They lowered me down to the observation deck. I said, I quit. This is not for me. He says, you did great. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of you. And that week I had a nice substantial raise. And I never left. I installed glass in the crown of the Statue of Liberty. I installed glass on the top of Grant's tomb in a building that was in the offices of the mob. It was a way of life. You don't think anything of it. You just do it. You know, one day rolls into the next, and you turn around, and all those years are gone. I think a good way to go through life. It hasn't hurt me at all. Get out there. You're all right. Don't worry about it. Did I tell you about my experience with Eva Gabor?
And now, enjoy a preview of Season 5 of Grassland Jam.
Without further ado, here is one of the great bluegrass bands around today, Minnesota's own Becky Buller and her band. Give them a big welcome. Yeah.
You never loved me, now I don't believe it. From all that I've seen, there's another instead. Don't make a fool of me, just take her and leave this. With another verse to another lonesome song about the curse of another love gone wrong. No hope in the mending. I would have resisted you from the start. There'd be no beginning and therefore no ending. Or another verse to another lonesome song about the curse of another love gone wrong.
Postcards is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota. Additional support provided by Margaret A. Cargill Philanthropies, Mark and Margaret Yackel-Julien on behalf of Shalom Hill Farms, a retreat and conference center in a prairie setting near Windham, Minnesota. On the web at shalomhillfarm.org. Alexandria, Minnesota, a year-round destination with hundreds of lakes, trails, and attractions for memorable vacations and events. More information at explorealex.com. The Lake Region Arts Council's Arts Calendar, an arts and cultural heritage funded digital calendar showcasing upcoming art events and opportunities for artists in West Central Minnesota. On the web at lrac4calendar.org.